How they treat you is more important than how you feel. Someone can like you and still take you for granted, treat you poorly, and disrespect your boundaries. And that's because they don't value you. Hello y'all, welcome back to another video dedicated to help you break out of the cycle of toxic behaviors and relationships in your romantic and personal area of your life. My name is Coach Jeanette from @Jeanette.x0 on TikTok and Instagram, and if you like anything personal development or a healthy relationship, make sure to hit subscribe and join the tribe. In this video, we're going to be exposing the toxicity and talk about why the way they treat you is more important than how you feel. One of the biggest mistakes that I see a lot of women doing that keeps them stuck in toxic relationships is staying in the relationship because I love them or they love me. And personally, I've definitely been guilty of doing this as well, but let me tell you something that social media doesn't want to tell you, which is love is not enough for a healthy relationship. Love is not a good enough reason to stay, especially if they're out there treating you with audacity and disrespect. I think us as a society glorifies this idea of love and how it's the most important thing because as long as we love each other, that's all that matters. But I don't agree with that, especially if you grew up in a household where you learned that love was chaotic, yelling, guilt tripping. We don't want to put that love on a pedestal because that's unhealthy. And I think this narrative just makes it easier for some of us to enable these unhealthy behaviors and excuse it as love. So instead of putting love on this pedestal, let's talk about all the other elements we want to make sure our relationship has in order for it to be healthy. Number one, trust and loyalty. The basis of trust and loyalty is knowing that your partner's got your back no matter what. They're not consistently doubting your choices or what you're doing and testing you, because those are all behaviors that show that I'm against you and I'm trying to just protect myself. When there's trust and loyalty in a relationship, you feel safe knowing that your partner is not going to betray you the second they get a chance. In fact, not only do they defend you when you're around, but they also defend you when you're not around. 2, healthy boundaries. Now, the foundation of boundaries is being able to share to your partner what you need, what you want, what you like, what you dislike, and being able to talk it out like adults. And if there are things that clash with each other, being able to find a solution and compromise on it. But I do want to note, you never want to compromise your values, and if you want to learn more about that and set boundaries healthily, watch my last video. But when you have healthy boundaries in a relationship, you're checking in on each other and not operating as if you were single. Because at the end of the day, you're in a partnership, you're in a team. And that brings us to element number 3, respect and compromise. When you respect each other, you care about what the other person thinks, and you're not quick to undermine them or doubt them. Respect and compromise is extremely important, especially if there are huge relationships and issues that you want to combat together, because you want to make sure that you're respectfully talking about it instead of yelling or screaming or guilt tripping or using all the other unhealthy behaviors. And without respect in a relationship, you almost don't see that person as your equal anymore. They're almost less than you, and that doesn't breed a healthy relationship at all. Number 4, emotional support. We all go through tough times sometimes, and having that emotional safe space and support from your partner is vital for a healthy relationship. You don't want to feel like we have to walk around eggshells around our partner hoping that they won't explode if you say the wrong thing or think the wrong thing. That emotional support and safe space allows you and your partner to be yourselves and truly feel safe to be vulnerable. And number 5, communication and comprehension. You don't want to just be able to communicate, but you also want to comprehend what the other person is saying. So this means actively listening to each other and making sure that you're not constantly getting defensive whenever you're in an argument. Being able to be present in the conversation and putting your ego aside is so important to help each other feel seen, heard, and understood. And number 6, love and intimacy. Yes, at the end of the day, love is an important element in a relationship. Otherwise, it's going to start feeling more of like a partnership or a sibling. When it comes to cultivating love, it's important to express each other's love language in the relationship to make sure that each other feels filled up, because that's what makes the relationship come alive, right? It's like that unspeakable chemistry and flirting with each other. And my favorite way to define love is actually in 1 Corinthians 13, and it states, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, and it keeps no record of wrongs. Oof, if you listen to that definition of love, it's so pure, and I want to challenge you and even think about replacing your partner or someone that you want to date as love or the it. So your partner is patient and kind. They do not boost or resent you. They don't only insist on their own way, but they rejoice with the truth. And I think it's just the perfect standard of what love should look like and what we should start embodying in our relationships. I do want to note that none of us are perfect, so if we are lacking in expressing or embodying some of these components, that is is okay, as long as you're working on it or willing to work on it. Because at the end of the day, like I say in my other videos, your willingness is what's important. If someone is not willing to work on themselves or work on the relationship, it's not going to change. But if you want to grow together and make sure that you thrive and build a healthy relationship, that willingness to change and those tangible, actionable steps is what's going to get you there. So get clear on what you want in a healthy relationship and make sure that you list all the things that you value, because there's a huge difference between being valued and liked. And you need both in order to sustain a healthy relationship. So you might be wondering, how do I spot the difference between someone who likes me and someone who values me? So these are some signs to look out for if you're in the dating phase, or even if you're in a relationship right now, of what it looks like if they don't value you. Number one, they don't care what you think. They're not asking about how your day was. They're not interested on what you were thinking about this specific topic. In fact, they're probably saying things like, I didn't ask for your opinion. Number two, their actions do not align with their words. This means they're flaky, they always go back on their promises, and they can never follow through with what they say. If they're telling you, oh, I'm gonna do it later, but they're constantly not doing it. Number three, they're not giving in any type of effort. So this is a perfect example to show the difference of being liked and valued, because in the beginning of a relationship, there's a lot of infatuation, sparks, chemistry, emotions are high. So they might be putting a lot of effort to try to court you, to get in a relationship with you, and once you get into a relationship and start settling down, they don't put as much effort anymore. And yes, it's natural to put a little less effort, but if they completely done a 180 and all of a sudden they're acting like you're too much and give less than the bare minimum, that is a sign that they don't value you and they were just high on the infatuation in the beginning of the relationship. Because someone who values you is going to put in that effort. Number four, they come up with way too many excuses instead of solutions. Say for example, you're trying to schedule a date together, but for some reason they come up with so many excuses of not to see you. Oh, my friend is coming over from like my hometown and I want to see him. Oh, I have to take care of my family. Oh, I have to go play some games with the guys. All these things that are adding up and showing that they're not prioritizing you. And yes, some of these are things that they want to do. It's important to make sure that they make time for their own things too. But if they're constantly just coming up with excuses and they're never supplying you with solutions, oh, maybe I can make it work like next week. Oh, we can work around our schedule and see what we can do so we can have both of these things happen, then it shows that they're not really valuing your quality time and they're just thinking about themselves. And number five, they only want you around when it's convenient for them. So similar to what I was just saying, they're not making that time and effort to go see you, and if it's inconvenient for them, they don't want it. And number six, they never seem to want to resolve an issue with you. They just shut down, push it away, and pretend it didn't happen. Of course, there's a component of how they're associating with conflict and the trauma they have behind it. But at the end of the day, it's important to resolve problems in your relationships. Otherwise, it's going to bottle up and build resentment. Number six, you always see them taking but never giving. This means that they're very stingy with their resources and they never want to give. Someone who values you is going to want to give you their time, energy, and effort because that's what's important to them. But someone who's constantly taking is only thinking about themselves and what they want. Number seven, you're constantly in competition with them. If someone's always making everything about a competition, who's right, who's wrong, I'm winning, you're losing, that is a sign that they're not on your side and not operating as a team. And number eight, they're not supportive of your dreams and ambitions. If someone has a hard time celebrating you whenever you're succeeding or winning, that means they're constantly thinking about themselves and feeling insecure about their life. But you don't want someone who's constantly tearing you down and making you feel bad. You want someone who's going to support you and celebrate you so that you guys can win together. So if you notice any of these signs in your relationship or in your dating partners, make sure that you communicate about them to resolve the issue beforehand. But remember, if they're not willing, then nothing's going to change. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much they like you, because if they don't value you, they're never going to treat you the way that you deserve. Now, I hope this video helped in understanding the differences between being valued and liked, and understanding all the different components in a healthy relationship. If you're ready to break the cycle of toxic relationships and build a healthy one, make sure you click the link in my description to book a free call and we'll plan out your next steps together. And if you're looking for a supportive and loving community, join my Facebook group. The link is also in the description below. And don't forget, comment down below, what do you value in your relationships? See you in next week's video. Like, subscribe, and as always, you got this.